You slept 8 hours. You did everything right. So why do you still wake up feeling like you're dragging something heavy behind you? Something with no name, no weight you can point to, and no reason it should still be there. Maybe it isn't your body that's tired. Maybe it's something older, something quieter, something that has been accumulating for years while you called it just being busy. There is a difference between fatigue and exhaustion. Fatigue asks for sleep. Exhaustion asks for something deeper. It asks you to look at how you've been living. And that is where we begin. Notice how the day usually starts. The eyes open before the mind is ready. The hand reaches for the phone before it reaches for anything else, before a breath, before a window, before a single private moment that belongs only to you. Within seconds, the mind is already elsewhere. An email, a message left unanswered, a number on a screen deciding how the next hour will feel. By the time you've had breakfast, you have already absorbed a dozen other people's emergencies. This is not weakness. This is the modern condition. But nearly 2,000 years ago, a man who ruled an empire understood something about mornings that we have forgotten. Marcus Aurelius, before dawn, would write to himself, not for an audience, not for approval, but simply to prepare his mind for the friction of the day ahead. He reminded himself that people would be difficult, ungrateful, distracted, and unkind, and that none of it needed to disturb the part of him that remained his own. He was not preparing for a perfect day. He was preparing to stay whole inside an imperfect one. Ask yourself, when was the last time you prepared your mind for the day, instead of just your body? Here is something worth sitting with. Exhaustion rarely comes from the size of our responsibilities. It comes from carrying weight that was never ours to carry. Think of the meeting where you smiled through a tension you didn't cause, the friend's crisis you absorbed as if it were your own, the family member's disappointment you tried to manage before it even happened, the urge to keep everyone comfortable, even at the cost of your own quiet. Epictetus, a man who spent part of his life enslaved before becoming one of the great teachers of his age, built his entire philosophy around a single, piercing distinction. Some things are within our power, and some things are not. Our judgments, our choices, our responses, these are ours. Other people's opinions, other people's moods, the outcomes of events, these never were. Somewhere along the way, most of us blurred that line completely. We started believing that our peace depends on being understood by everyone, liked by everyone, approved of by everyone, and so we spend our days negotiating with people who were never going to be satisfied in the first place. Who convinced you that your value depends on constant approval? Picture the commute, bodies pressed into a subway car, or hands gripping a steering wheel in traffic that isn't moving. Nobody speaks. Everyone stares at something small and glowing, and somewhere in that silence, a quiet, unspoken numbness settles in, the particular exhaustion of being surrounded by people while feeling completely alone. This is not new to the human condition. It is simply new in form. Seneca wrote to his friend Lucilius about how strange it was that people guard their money and their properties so carefully, yet let their time, the only truly irreplaceable thing they own, slip away without a second thought. He said most people don't lose their lives all at once. They lose them in fragments, in distraction, in the endless postponement of the one life they actually have. How much of today did you spend fully present, and how much of it did you spend somewhere else entirely, worrying about a version of the future that hasn't happened yet? There's a particular kind of tiredness that comes from performance, smiling at work while quietly unraveling, saying I'm fine so often that the words stop meaning anything, even to you, suppressing what you feel because there never seems to be a safe place to feel it. The Stoics never taught that emotion should be buried. That is a common misunderstanding. What they taught was that we suffer twice, once from the event itself, and again from the story we tell ourselves about it. Grief, anger, disappointment, these are not the enemy. The enemy is pretending they don't exist, letting them calcify quietly beneath a composed face until the pressure becomes indistinguishable from who you are. Marcus Aurelius did not deny his frustrations. He examined them, wrote them down, and questioned them every single day. When did you last allow yourself to feel something all the way through, instead of performing that you were fine? Now think of Sunday night, that particular, familiar dread, not because anything is wrong, but because tomorrow starts the cycle again. The guilt of resting, the strange discomfort of stillness, as if rest must be earned through exhaustion, and stopping, even for an hour, means falling behind in a race no one ever clearly defined. Ask yourself honestly, when did your worth become measured only in output? The Stoics would find this deeply strange. To them, a life well lived was not one crammed with achievement, but one lived in agreement with your own nature and values. Seneca warned that a person can live a long life and still barely have lived at all, if that life was spent chasing things that were never truly theirs to chase: status, comparison, the approval of strangers. Scroll through any feed today and you will see curated fragments of other people's lives, presented as whole truths. And without noticing, you begin measuring your unfinished, ordinary, real life against someone else's highlight reel. Are you exhausted by your life, or by comparing it to a life that was never yours to live? Here, finally, is the quiet center of everything we've walked through. The heaviest exhaustion does not come from what happens to us. It comes from our resistance to what happens to us, the wishing things were different, the fighting against a reality that has already occurred, the refusal to accept what cannot be changed while ignoring what can. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the things which happen to us are not good or bad in themselves. It is the mind that assigns them their weight. Epictetus went further, saying that people are disturbed not by events, but by the opinions they form about them. This is not indifference. It is not resignation. It is something far more demanding, the discipline of directing your energy only where it can actually make a difference, and releasing your grip on everything else, other people's judgments, the past, outcomes you were never in control of to begin with. If Marcus Aurelius lived your exact life today, your inbox, your traffic, your notifications, your unmet expectations, what do you think he would tell you to release? Perhaps only one thing: stop fighting what already is, and start choosing, deliberately, who you will be within it. You are not lazy, you are not weak, you are not broken, you are a person who has been carrying invisible weight for a very long time, mistaking it for the ordinary cost of being alive. The Stoics do not offer an escape from difficulty. They never promised an easy life. What they offer is something rarer, a way to stand steady inside a difficult one. Rest without guilt, boundaries without cruelty, presence without needing to explain it to anyone. Tonight, when you close your eyes, ask yourself one final question. How much lighter would you feel if you finally set down what was never yours to carry? If these ancient ideas helped you see your own life a little more clearly, perhaps this is not the end of something, but the beginning of it.